How do you manage the energy someone brings into a session?
Woo, baby, that's a good one. That's a good one. So I do, especially new people. My regular clients, I don't have to do as much work. I know what they coming in with for the most part, and I've taught myself how to manage their energy and how to hold them in the space. But for new people that I don't know, I do cleansings and purification rituals before they get there to make sure the atmosphere that they walk into is welcoming and calming and lends to them being authentic and open. I cannot do anything with anybody who is wearing a mask, who they refuse to take the mask off. And I can't do anything for anybody who is not open. So you got to be open. And so I use herbs, I use incense, and I do candle work. I basically do the work on myself to make myself a vessel and to make to open up the atmosphere for me to be able to receive whatever it is I need to get them what they need. So what I do before and after the session is way more important than what happens in the session, and what happens in the session is phenomenally important. So it's even more important than that. So there's a lot of prep work to get the energy right in the room, to get my energy right, and to make it comfortable for the individual as they come in.
I'm just starting in that space, so but I do some prep, cleansing prep, setting the intentions, for the space. But I'm not as seasoned. I'm excited to, as I continue to build in the rituals and to hear like exactly what my version of queen, but like, not queen, but me, like what that looks like for.
And it'll
my
come.
clients.
You'll figure out what everybody don't need the same thing.
Yeah.
So you'll figure out what you need to be able to provide what they need. Yeah, that'll come.
Well, that also kind of answered my next question. How do you recharge or reset yourself between sessions or after a long day of, talking and working with all these different people? How do you recharge in between or after?
Well, right after the session, I cut the cord, which means that I release any energy that does not belong to me immediately right after the session. Because I'm also empathic and can carry and absorb energy. So I could be walking around 2-3 days later with whatever she said in her session. And that doesn't work for me. And it took me a long time to figure out that doesn't work for me, because my body would give out, like I'd get sick physically. I'd be crying randomly for 3-4 days. And eventually it would dawn on me, I have absorbed her energy so much that I am thinking her thoughts. I am affected by her triggers. I am, so that's how you carrying it. So I had to, once I started seeing that, I had to learn how to immediately detach from it, because I gotta attach while the session is going on, because I don't know if you're telling me the truth. I don't know if you are telling me everything, and I need to be able to go in places where you won't let yourself go. So I gotta be attached in the session, which means I must detach after the session. But I also, for myself, I do a lot of my therapy through music. Music is very freeing for me. Whether it moves me to dance, scream, cry, think, whatever, I use music. It can be, most of the time it's going to be inspirational or gospel music. But that really works really well for me to keep my energy together. I will clap a house and a room down to get the energy together. And I do ceremonial work, like the candle work I was talking about. I do cleansing and smudging and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of different things, but I just have to be real on top of how heavy is this, and is this something that my spirit will resonate with enough to try to hold on to. So that's the work, because sometimes you don't know that you're being affected by it until you're affected. So I had to get in front of that to make sure that I prevented it before it became a thing. That's the work. That's the hard part.
I'm just learning so much. I'm just learning. Yeah, I don't have an answer.
Okay. So then I ask you a question.
Okay.
When you leave a queen session and maybe she gave you some work or she said something that you didn't necessarily want to hear.
Golly.
Or said it in a way that it was necessary, which it was rough.
It was rough.
How soon after do you apply whatever she gave you to do?
I'll sit in it for like I'll sit in and I'll be whatever the energy is, upset or oh shit, bruise, oh fuck that, I spend some time with it. But how soon do I go into whatever it is? Almost immediately. To me, in this work, and it's probably the only space other than like motherhood that I'm like, I don't give a fuck what it is. Like I'm going in, like I'm not afraid. I am not afraid of this work at all. Like with motherhood, I'm not afraid of whatever, I know I'm the best person to take care of my children. So in this space, I know I am equipped. I have a strong, fierce team behind me, in front of me, underneath me. So it's almost immediately that I'm like, all right, then this shit hurt. Okay, well, let's put a little.
Usually by the time you leave my office, we have a plan.
Yeah.
There is I'm going to start on this day. I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to do. There's usually a plan. So I can co-sign you saying it's fairly immediate.
Yeah, no matter what. Because it ain't like every time, I leave there, I'm like, oh, yeah, this feels good. No, it's a lot of times I'm like, God damn. Shit. Damn, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't agree with that. No, I don't want, but okay, I sit with that shit and I'm like, well, but this is what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. So almost fucking immediately. Let's
but I encourage my clients to let it sit for a second.
Yeah.
Because it's really, I'm guiding, sure, but really this is a you and your spirit thing, so, and I've had people to come back and say, girl, you told me to light this on Wednesday, but spirit is saying I need to light it now. Mm-hmm. Okay, follow your spirit. Mm-hmm. Just sit with it first and digest it and, go from there.
And sometimes I'll reach out and say, mama, this is what I feel, this is why, and you do say, okay, let your spirit guide you in this space. Or Sometimes
I'll go, okay, well, what your spirit say? Mm-hmm. Should I do this? Should I do that? What did your spirit say? Because sometimes people try to cheat the program because I exist. Mm-hmm. So they try to cheat the program and want me to tell them. And I can easily tell when that's what they're doing, and I'm not going. Because you're trying to cheat the process to keep yourself from having to figure it out, because figuring it out is hard. Because you got to do what we talked about earlier. You got to sit still. You got to be quiet. You got to detach. You got to do all those things, which for black women ain't easy to do. There's always a thing pulling at us. Yep. Always. So it's very hard to separate yourself intentionally from those things. You got children, you got husband, you got whatever you got. It's hard to separate completely enough and make yourself the primary focus. That's not a thing that we were ever taught to do. In fact, we were taught to never do it. Right. So it's very difficult to do. So I have no problem saying, sit still for a second. Just take this stuff, because this is what spirit told me to tell you. So it's supposed to be. But you go sit with it and see how you need to handle it. Here's what I was given. Now you go sit with it and make sure that this all feels like a thing that you need. Some people are not able to really make that determination for themselves. And that's okay. That's what I'm for. But the ones who are a little further along in this work, and I know that they trust their spirit, that their spirit is present, that it's positive, that it's healthy, that it's coming from a good place, I have no problem saying, follow your spirit. No problem at all.
Yeah, for sure.